Live. What's up, folks? So let me grab this link that Zoom's going to give me here in just a second to give that to the Discord, and then we can get started. Come on, Zoom. There we go. Okay, cool. So here's the YouTube. Hi, friends. So my name is Kent, and I do office hours every Monday and Thursday, and that's just your opportunity to ask me questions about anything, and I do my best to answer. Yeah. That's pretty much it. If you want to participate, then don't bother using the chat on YouTube. I don't ever look at that. I don't. So, I mean, feel free to use it, but nobody's going to see it, or at least I'm not going to. Instead, what you want to do is go to my Discord. So you go to kcd.im/Discord and go to the Office Hours channel. And there we can have a wonderful conversation and chat and stuff. So I'm a little bit late today, so I'm okay to go a little bit over, but from the look of it, we don't have a lot of questions so far. So yeah, we'll see. Sometimes we end early, but not very often. Okay, great. So with that, I'm happy to answer this question or take a look at it anyway. But is anybody in the Zoom chat or the Zoom meeting right now who would like to ask their question first? You get priority because you're here. No? Okay, that's great. Then I will just go starting from the top right here. I'm getting some messages from my friend Ryan. So now I'm eager for this to be over. No, just kidding. I'm happy to be here. Hold on. But Ryan always has the most interesting things to say because I'm excited about Remix. Okay. So I have not seen this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have one question.
Sure.
So I just started with testing JavaScript. I was wondering how much of the testing of React that applies to React Native.
Ooh, yeah. So maybe there's someone else in the Zoom call who knows a little bit more, because I have done 0 React Native, whether testing or otherwise. However, I do know, or I've heard from others, that the things that I teach you in testing JavaScript are really applicable to lots of React Native. Not everything is going to make sense or crossover, but there are like a lot of things in here. By the way, 15 hours left on this sale, so grab that right now, folks who haven't gotten it already. Yeah, so there's like the fundamentals of testing. That's going to help you in testing in general. Static analysis, that definitely applies. Mocking definitely applies. Configuring jest, lots of this applies, but not all of it. And testing React components, lots of this applies, but not all of it. And lots of it translates over. So here we're using React Testing Library. And what you'll want to use is the React Native version of this, which I will link you to there. This is a pretty short page because their full docs is a totally separate site. And this should all be very familiar. In fact, if we look at queries page, yeah, look at that. Like, say what now? So like they're basically the same, like from the fundamentals standpoint. So there's a lot of crossover between what I teach you for web and what you can use for native. Now, the one thing that you definitely won't be able to use for native is Cypress. Like maybe there's a way you can finagle make that work. I know some people have used React Native Web, and they'll run their end-to-end tests using the web side of that. I don't think that's particularly advisable, but don't take my word for it because I don't do native, but that just doesn't seem right to me. Most of the people that I know who are using or who are end-to-end testing their React Native are using a tool called Detox, which again, I've never used before. Oh, well, we got a Detox.js maybe. There we go, from Wix. I've never used this before, so take that for what it is. But it seems like a more legit end-to-end testing solution. And we don't talk about this at all in testingjavascript.com. But I mean, you look at that, it's like, yeah, that seems like that's really what you probably want to do. It's probably a little more difficult, but they say PRs are welcome, which is cool because that is, yeah, open source is great. Okay. And yeah, then of course, this one is not going to be useful to you at all. If you have Node backend, then that will help, but that's totally not related to React Native. So anyway, hopefully that sort of helps. I should probably add a frequently asked questions because I do get that question quite a lot. So maybe I will do that. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, Ken. Thanks.
Yeah, good luck. Have fun. Anybody
Sure.
else on the call who wants to ask a question before I go back to Discord?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I have a question regarding the React hook section of Epic React.
Yeah.
So actually, it's in the channel. I don't know if you want to look at the channel. Another person asked the same question.
Oh, where is this?
Is in the
In
React
the
hooks.
hooks channel. Okay.
Yeah. And it's that with the image.
This one right here.
Regarding the hook flow, yeah, I encountered the same problem.
Okay, so this was this the one where they tried to pass window to the dependencies, or that must be something else. Okay, well, let me get myself up to speed really quick. After I got LASIK and I traded my glasses for dry eyes, I would make that trade over again 1,000,000 times. I'm way happier to not have glasses, but the dry eyes are not fun. Okay, I should probably get eye drops. That's what my brother's an eye doctor, and he says you should use eye drops, and I don't. I should listen to my doctor. Okay. Oh yes, I need to fix this. I need to re-record this. I think that I've got a oh man. Yeah, React hooks. I think there's an issue open for this. Yeah, right here. Where I explain that React 17, they slightly changed the order of hooks. So I will paste this as a response to that. So basically, as illustrated here in this issue, this is what it looks like now. So on the app render end, then we do the child render start. We run the state and whatever, and then the use effect cleanup happens. But in this case, we run all of the child stuff, and then we run the app stuff. This was a subtle change in React 17. It's one of the very few breaking changes that happened in React 17. It's not really like substantial or it should not really impact you in a regular real world scenario. But unfortunately, because I showed this in the videos, I have gotten this question a fair number of times, probably enough for me to really take some time to update the video. But it is on my radar. And yeah, so you're not the first one to have this question, and it's my fault that you're that you have the question at all. I should get it updated.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Other questions in here? Peter, I think you had one.
Yeah, okay. So a couple of weeks ago, we discussed the memory leaks, and I posted a link in the chat. I created a React issue to discuss it, but the issue didn't attract any discussion yet. If you have any ideas, like who might be useful to take, like who would be interested in this discussion?
Yeah. So I don't know. I have very limited insight into the React team. And honestly, I don't have a super great working relationship with the React team. So I don't think that I could be of much use, even if I were to come in here and be like, hey, let's get some attention here. Like that wouldn't do any good. So my guess is that they saw this issue and they're like, oh yeah, we're aware of this. We don't know what to do with this. Let's go deal with the other 507 issues that we have. And, so that's my guess of what's going on here. If they don't answer in another like 4 days, so when it's been 2 weeks, you might just, just ping, hey, because like they haven't even added any tags to this or anything at all. It's still unconfirmed or whatever. So they should at least come in and look at it yeah, I don't know. I can't even imagine what it's like to maintain a project like React. But I don't know what the React team does with their time, because I don't watch the project. I'm sure that they get tons of notifications all day, every day. So I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.
I can give you a thumbs up on it though. There you go.
Thanks.
So and eyes, and here we'll do the full gamut, and a heart. I don't know if I'll celebrate it. That's probably, or like laugh at it. That's like, or like sad it. No, I'll do the positive ones.
Yeah, thanks. If you remember someone who might be interested at some later point, then let me know.
Probably the person that would be, I don't know, the person that would probably be most receptive or interested maybe is Brian Vaughn. He does a lot of performance stuff. He does the dev tools. So of anybody, he's probably the most likely candidate for dealing with this. Because I don't know what Dan's working on. I don't know what Andrew's working on. Sebastian always seems to work on like the really low level stuff. So yeah, Brian's probably your best bet.
Okay.
He also seems to be the most responsive of the team, at least to me. So
thanks for the tips.
Yeah, good luck. Anyone else in the Zoom before I go back to Discord? Okay, cool. So let's just go to the top here. And I don't know how to pronounce this name, but you're here. Is it Afzal?
Hey, yeah.
Cool. I'll just read your question here really quick. I did kind of briefly go over it. Let me put this down. I want to sit. Okay. So first thought is I've never seen this warning before, so I'll have to Google it. Are you server side rendering at all, or is this all client side?
Yes, I'm using Next.js.
Oh, okay. Oh, yep, there it is. I'll just keep reading then. Oh, yeah. Okay. So my guess is what's going on here is you're rendering one thing on the client and something different on the server. And so when this is just my guess, maybe you've already thought about this, but my intuition is telling me that that's what's happening. And so when React rehydrates on the client, it says, oh, before you rendered a main, or maybe before you didn't render a section and now you are rendering a section, that's not intended, or that's not expected. So like rehydration should render the exact same thing that came from the server. And if it doesn't, then you get warnings like this. Normally, yeah, I think actually this is the warning that you get. It tries to be as specific as possible. So so that's the problem. What you need to do is make sure that your state is initialized the same. So here it looks like you're initializing blocks loaded to true on the server, but false on the client, which will result in a different outcome on the when it renders on the client. So the solution to this is to set this value inside of a use effect. So say use state false, blocks loaded is false, and then inside of here, let's see, what are you even doing? Let's see. Load all blocks. So what you're saying is that on the server, the blocks are already loaded, but on the client, you're gonna load the blocks. So on the server, are they really already loaded? That's what the code is saying.
Yeah.
But is that the case? Like,
so Next.js has this dynamic helper, which loads the dynamic blocks on the server side for us, so that they can be server rendered.
I see. So on with this feature, so I'm very inexperienced with Next. With this feature of Next, that means that on the server, this resolves immediately. This import will resolve like right away, so it can be server rendered. But on the client, it is dynamically loaded.
Yeah. And I want to await all the loading of all these blocks so that I don't see them loading in an improper order. Like the first
so that
block.
they pop in, so you avoid things popping. Yeah.
If you only need it in the client side, you can add the no SSR option to it.
No, I actually want SSR.
Oh, okay.
Well, so what's interesting to me is that like what this message seems to be telling me is that it on the server did not actually render a section. Or wait, no. Did not expect server HTML to contain a section in main.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me think. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like if this is a built-in feature of Next, then they probably have a solution for this problem. Like I feel like using this feature creates this problem. So why do they have the feature? I'm guessing that the Next folks would be able to help you with this one. I don't, like I said, my experience with Next is very limited, but this seems like this would always be a problem for anybody using this feature. So either I'm misunderstanding it or there's just some extra thing that you need to do. So I would ask the Next folks.
There's not exactly a problem with this feature in itself. I'm trying to get more done out of the feature than it is intended. That is, I want it to be server rendered as well as dynamically rendered on the client side. So when I'm navigating on client side, I want it to be dynamically loaded.
Right. I see. So you're not using the feature as intended, I guess. You're trying to do extra. Okay.
The most simple question from this that I want to know is that is it okay to ignore this warning?
No.
Because everything seems to work right now.
It's typically not okay to ignore warning. Well, there are definitely exceptions to everything. I'm not sure what will happen if you ignore this warning. Yeah, I'm not. It's probably fine, but I don't know. I don't have enough experience with this to tell you what would happen, or situations in which I think it's mostly just saying it's basically like an assertion. It's saying, hey, we expected this, that did not happen, so there's probably some problem, but we can't tell you what the problem is. Their detection of problems isn't perfect, and so it could be that everything's fine, and you can safely ignore the warning. I mean, one thing that comes to mind is you could just make sure that, well, no, because you want to server render it. And so you server render it, but then when it comes around to the client, it says, hey, the server sent me stuff that had a section in main, but the client did not render that. So yeah, that actually makes me wonder. It's curious to me that it seems to be working because my intuition tells me that what would actually happen in this situation is the server would render it, and then the client would rehydrate, and it would say, oh, blocks loaded is false, so I'm going to not render the page content, whatever that is. I'm not going to render that because blocks loaded is false. So what you'd see is the content is loaded, and then when it rehydrates, it would actually remove the page content. Is that not what's happening?
I guess so. That's what's happening. But then again, we have this use effect which sets blocks loaded to true.
Right. Yeah. So your user, let me make sure I understand correctly. So what you're seeing right now is some content comes from the server. it gets removed and then it gets added again. Is that what you're seeing?
No, I'm not seeing that. I see the content loaded from the server side and it remains there with just a warning.
Maybe it's happening so fast that you can't see it or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. What I would try to do, just to verify that theory, is add to like right before you call set blocks loaded, add this, or maybe you could put this in a set timeout or something. But yeah, you could do await new promise set timeout. Whoops. Or like you could do 5 seconds. So if you add this to right before you call set blocks loaded, then you should see, this is my guess, you will see the server content renders, it shows the content, but then that immediately gets removed and you wait 5 seconds and then it shows up again. That's my guess of what's going to happen. And so if that's what happens, then you might not see it because you're working with the server that's on your local machine. So this promise gets resolved really fast, but your users might have, like it may not happen so fast for them. And so that's what the warning is telling you. That's my guess of what's going on or what experience is going to happen. And yeah, that's why you really typically shouldn't ignore warnings, but go ahead and give that a try. And if that's not happening for you, or if it still works fine for some reason, I really don't understand how that would not be a problem, but then I guess you can ignore it or go down another avenue to figure out what's going on. So I don't have much more to say about it though. Like I said, I don't have much experience with Next. So
yeah, no problem, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Sure. Good luck. Anyone else in the Zoom call have a question before I go back to Discord?
Hi, Kent.
Hi.
It's not a question. I would like to show you some code. If you give me some feedback, I just posted in the chat in Zoom. I don't know if the link.
Oh, in the Zoom chat. Oh, can you put that in the Discord? That way we can keep a record there.
Yeah, sure. If I'm able to find, yep. So I'm trying to like create a custom hook for using mutation server. I need mutation server because I'm developing a Chrome extension, so I need to serve some elements in the host page.
Okay. Let me. Here, actually, I guess I'll share my screen again. Sorry, I thought you were going to share your screen, which is fine either way. I can drive here, no problem. So yes, here's the sandbox. I actually have already downloaded it and I'm installing dependencies because I don't trust Code Sandbox.
Okay.
Yeah, the promise is so great, but they just don't deliver so frequently. It's really disappointing. I'm probably the longest running patron on Code Sandbox. I still believe in them. I want them to win, but boy, they do not do what I want them to do, and it's really sad. Okay, so you've got this use mutation observer.
Yeah, exactly. You can jump all the TypeScript types, so the function is down.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the goal here?
The goal, because I'm developing a Chrome extension, so I need to observe some mutations of the host page to decorate with my components, React components properly. So I need to use this guy for finding the right element at the right moment. So I came up with this custom hook.
Okay, so and what are you looking for out of our discussion right now?
Yeah, because so also I would like to use this to implement a classic pattern where you observe some root element, and when the child element appears, you like disconnect from the root element and observe only the child. So this is why I also expose some APIs like disconnect and connect.
So you just want feedback on this, or?
Yeah, some feedback. Okay. So because
well, I can tell you that I have used a mutation observer API myself, just for testing library. We use that in the wait for utility, which like all the find by queries use and everything. But that's my extent of the mutation observer API, but I will try my best to give you some useful feedback. So you, to be clear, you're not having any problems or anything specifically with it?
No,
just...
no.
Okay.
Also some feedback also for improving this guy.
I see. Okay. Well, I'm still not sure I understand the objective of the hook, but I can give you some general feedback on the code itself. I guess there's two eyes right here, so there's one thing.
Yes. Some typo around, of course.
Yeah, no worries. Here, let me see how this is used first.
Yeah, also there is some demo code you can open. Yeah, there is demo. The simulate basically the page you see. So I'm observing the parent, the boxes container, and when I see the container of the boxes, I just dismiss the first one and start, and just using the second one to observe the boxes when they appear in the container.
What's the use case for this hook? Like, what are you building that needs this hook?
Yeah, a Chrome extension. Chrome extension. So, you know, when you build a Chrome extension, you have something, the content page. It's injected in the host page. So I'm using React for decorating the host page, and I'm using this guy for waiting for some elements in the host page before I can decorate it. For example, if I want to decorate a Gmail, I want to change the send button. When the user open the new composer for composing new email, I need to wait that when this dialog is open before starting decorating the Gmail composer. If I want to change, for example, the send button.
I see. And so right here, you're saying, I want you to look inside of this element, and when there are changes, I want you to see if this selector returns elements, and when it does, then that's going to be found elements.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. And then you said something about the children being observed as well, or no?
Yeah, this in this demo, just trying to simulate the pattern that I'm first observing the body, but I'm not interested directly in the body. I'm interested in the boxes container. So when but I need first to observe the body, because the boxes container can be inserted on the page later on. So I need to first check the body, but I want to dismiss the first one and continue just observing the boxes container when it came up. So just to simulate some pattern that probably I need in my Chrome extension.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Do you do this a lot in your Chrome extension? So let me clarify why I'm asking. My intuition says that this would be a lot simpler if it weren't a custom hook and if it was just inline in the component that it's being used.
The point is that basically all the extension in the content page are React app. Basically, it's we are creating a fragment, so that is not injected in the content pages, but in the fragment where we basically clone the structure of our host page. and we are injecting the components in the content page using basically using the what's the name of the portal, using the portal. So because our goal is to like develop the content page using only React for everything basically. So we don't want to mix JavaScript and so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that if I were to build something like, and sorry, I know I haven't looked at the implementation yet, but I'm just thinking if I were to build something like this, I probably wouldn't put it, put the bulk of the logic inside of a hook. I think I would make a module or a set of like an object or something that maintained a pub sub API where you could, I don't know.
Yeah, the idea is to have, for example, for the set timeout wrapper in the hooks to use inside the React component. So like mutation server, so we have a hook where you use the mutation server APIs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me look at what you've actually built here really quick. So, so you're calling this observer callback on every render except for the first.
Yeah, basically this is the callback that you pass to the mutation observer object. And when there is some mutation, the mutation observer.
But here it looks like you're calling it yourself.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because sometimes we want to do like a quick check at the beginning without waiting for the mutations. So there is an option, initial query, that allow you to do that. So do you want to just query the DOM without waiting for any mutation? So it's an option.
I see, but you don't want to do it on the first render.
Yeah, exactly. Because we initialize, because we do that in the beginning when we set the state. Otherwise, you can have.
I see. So it's unnecessary because you already do the same stuff on the first render anyway.
Yes, this is just this is used for when you disconnect or reconnect, basically.
I see. This is all within this use callback. Okay. I think it's fine. I don't really see anything alarming or anything in here. One thing that I noticed was just in this, I'm guessing this isn't what you actually do, but you're passing the document query selector body. So this means you're going to go look for the body on every single render, which is probably fine. It's not a huge deal, but that would be one thing where maybe you could
something lazy. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, other than that, I think it's fine. I'm not sure I understand the initial query option.
Yeah, the initial query, yeah, basically when the first render, without waiting any mutation, we try to query the selectors to find if we find the elements without waiting for the mutation. So that's, yeah.
I see. So when you initialize your state, you
yeah, exactly.
I see.
Sometimes can be useful and sometimes not. But
yeah, when would that not be useful?
Because we know that some element at the beginning is not in the page, so it doesn't make sense to have this query at the beginning. So
gotcha. So that's just an optimization.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. I would maybe you've already done this, but I would remove that feature until you know that's something that's necessary. I feel like that's premature optimization.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, this is fine, I think. Yeah, I shouldn't say it's fine. I'm sure it's been a lot of work and good job. Bravo. So yeah, thanks for sharing. That was kind of interesting to think about. And I should just mention too that like when you share code with me, take everything that I say with a grain of salt because my experience is not yours, and I maybe just have no idea what I'm talking about. But hopefully that was at least a little helpful. It probably wasn't very helpful, but there you go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else here have a question before I continue in Zoom here? Or
Hey, Kent. I have a question I just posted. I'm trying to test a hook that does the suspense. Suspense, but I'm not sure how to test that suspend.
Okay. So your question is, what's this error talking about, or is it something else specifically?
My question is, how can is there a better way so I can test that the hook did suspend?
To test that the hook is what?
Using suspend, React suspend.
Oh, is suspending.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, so I guess a hook that's suspending would throw a promise, right? That's how you suspend. Is that what it's doing, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not the one who wrote the hook.
You didn't write. Yeah. So that's what a what a hook would do if it's using suspense. Now, man, all these, it's so frustrating. There's so many libraries, and that's not the frustrating part. The frustrating part is the React team, but there's so many libraries that are using the suspense API as it exists, but it's not documented. And the React team is just not committing to it. And so they're not going to document it. And we're going to build tons of libraries, and tons of people are going to start using suspense like this. React Query also does this. And then the React team is going to come around and because they've told us, they said, we don't like this API, but that's what it is today. And so tons of people are using it. And then they're going to come around one day and say, no, the promise throwing thing didn't work. We're going to do something else. And now everybody like, what? How is it? It's just frustrating. But yes, that's the API as it is today. They're going to throw a promise. I hope it doesn't change. I think that API is fine. And so what you would do then is you would just verify that a promise is, or that when you call the hook, given this specific configuration, it throws a promise. Now it may not throw a promise. Let's see, it has to throw a promise when the hook is called synchronously. It needs to throw that promise synchronously. It can't do it within a use effect or in a set timeout or anything like that. It has to be when you call that hook, that the hook cannot run to completion. It has to throw a promise if it's suspending. Now, what it could do is it could have like queue up an effect, and that effect does something that triggers a state update. It re-renders, and then it throws a promise, and that could trigger suspense. That would be a weird thing, but that would also be a valid use of the current suspense API. So if you want to say, hey, this uses suspense when I say use suspense true or whatever, then what you would need to do is wrap the hook use in a try catch and verify that the error that's thrown is a promise. And that's how you would verify it's using suspense. And then you'd probably want to wait for the promise to resolve or like trigger that promise to resolve yourself. It's probably, yeah, I'm not sure how that API or what they're doing with that promise, but yeah, you'd probably want to make sure that promise does resolve. And then when it does, that the hook returns the values it's supposed to or does what it's supposed to. Does that answer your question, Emmer?
Yeah, I think it does. Thank you.
Hello,
Yeah.
Ken.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, Dave.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. So I got a job. Last time we speak when you conduct in the seminar, React seminar. We
Cool.
talked each other. Then I got a
Congratulations.
job. Yeah, thank you. And it's on React development. So I am doing a project there. So one thing I'm facing problem there is like when I have to call a API and when I fetching the data, I have to check each data. Is it undefined or not in each where I putting those data in the div. Okay. So is there any better way to check only one time and I can use it?
So it would be a lot easier if you gave me some code, even just here in Discord or, yeah, actually that's where you'd give it to me. Because it's hard for me to understand exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, sorry, I am opening the project. I will say you again that like I am fetching a data. It's a object, okay?
Mhm.
So there are so many data, and what things like I want to use a car number and car model and car name. Okay, so I have to use condition. Is it undefined or not every time? In every place I am using that data. So is there any better way so I can use like only one time I can check the car object, whole car object, and then I can use?
Yeah, so that comes down with how you structure your code. So what I typically try to do is I say, well, it comes down to, does that code behave differently in both cases, or does it only, does it say, if this doesn't happen, then don't do anything? And so like, let's say you have some code that's running and it says, if this doesn't happen, then don't do anything, or like, well, let's do something specific. So like car.name. So we've got, if the car.name doesn't exist, then don't do anything. And then the next line of code says, if the car.name doesn't exist, then don't do anything. And then the next one also does that. If you've got a bunch of those, then why don't you just say, if the car.name doesn't exist, just don't run the rest of the code. But let's take a look at your code here.
So you can see that I am using every time the undefined, is it undefined or not?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's some things that you can, yeah, Curon, that's what I would suggest is you return early, but it looks like you do want to have something happen in the case that it's undefined, and that thing that you want to have happen is different each time. So there are a couple of things that you can do. One thing that I've done that you might look into is, where is it? I think it's in utils. Books maybe. Yeah. So I have this loading book that's like a fake book. And so this could be used while it's loading, but you could follow the same type of pattern with a missing data situation. So you could say, like here we have my car equals data.car. Or if that doesn't exist, then let's do a fake car that has a brand, and the brand is, a dash. or whatever,
Okay.
and so on and so forth like that.
So you're creating a model.
You'd have a fake model that has
Okay.
has values that are filled in that would be what you'd want to have rendered if those things didn't exist. So here you say if the registration number is undefined, then we're just going to render a dash. Well, in that case, why don't you just say the registration number is a dash? Another thing that you could do is just to tidy this up a little bit. I'll just grab this. And we'll do JS here. Okay, hold on. Okay. So here's something else that you could do just syntactically. You can say, yeah, it'd be like car. Well, here. If the registration number exists, then you'd render that. Otherwise, this.
Okay, that's so cool.
So that could tidy it up quite a bit. And yeah, another thing that you could do is do some destructuring at the top. So you could say, here's my data.car or whatever. And otherwise just an empty object. And then you'd grab the brand. A lot of people are going to throw up in their mouths when they see this. But I think it's clear. Especially once you apply prettier to this, then it is way clearer, I think. But yeah, so then you just destructure it. And then down here, you'd say brand, and it's going to be the brand of the car, or it's going to be this dash. And you could do the same thing for the registration number. Default that to a dash. And here, let's just prettierify this thing. See, and then it I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Brand is going to be the brand or dash. So there are a couple different things. If I were looking at this problem right now myself, I think I'd probably go with this solution most likely. It doesn't seem like really complicated or a complicated solution. So that's probably what I would go for.
And so
Yeah.
one thing I want to ask, like, I am facing for me use effect. So why I have to aware of the use effect?
Sorry, say that again. I didn't quite
Okay.
follow.
So where I have to aware of the use effect, use effect. Like, I am like when I'm using something in the use effect, it's rendering many times. So the loading time is quite increased that time. So how I have to choose what I have to use in the use effect?
I'm going to need to see code for that too. I'm not sure I understand your question. And I think my guess is, because I need to wrap up office hours in a minute. So my guess is that your question, if you provide some code, could probably be pretty well answered in the React channel as well. So maybe put some code in there, and if nobody answers your question, then you can bring it to the next office hours.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else before we wrap up?
Hey, Kent, I have something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time with environment variables. I don't understand them very well. Do you have something that can help me? Do you have something that can help me with that?
I don't have a resource specifically, but I can just say environment. I'll try to define it as best I can, or explain it as best I can. Never actually explained this before, so.
What I understand is that it's a way to keep the secret keys hidden, but my test is failing because the test doesn't have the access to the API key, and my app doesn't render on Heroku, for example, because it doesn't have access also to the environment key.
Right. Yes. It's a very common mechanism for keeping secret stuff out of your source code so that you can put it and configure it somewhere else so that it's not in source control. So yeah, the solution to the problem that you stated is inside of your setup test file, the file that gets required before your test runs, you do something like process env dot API key is some fake key or something, assuming that you don't actually want to have the API actually referenced in your test or actually used, which is most likely the case. So that's the solution. This is how you access environment variables in Node. I'm guessing that's what your source code is doing.
I know that, but for the production side, what can I do?
Yeah, on the production side, you just need to make sure that these environment variables are configured and added to probably your CI, but also your production server. And the way that you add environment variables is going to differ based on where you're deploying to and what CI you're building. But it's a pretty common thing. And so it's very Googleable. You just say, if you're using Google or GitHub Actions, then you just, Google GitHub Actions environment variables. Or if you're using, AWS, just, the name of the service environment variables, you'll be able to figure it out.
Thank you so much, Kent.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay. I think that's it for me today. So look forward to next week, or not next week, this week, on Thursday. Still planning on this. And it should be a good time. And hopefully I won't be late like I have the last 2 times. Hope you're all doing awesome, and we will see you all in the future. Goodbye.